Hi guys, week 5 now of Mamemeister's High Score Kerfuffle Season 3, and last week's game was Choplifter, released by Sega in 1985. I mentioned last week the interesting history of this game, starting on the Apple II, moving to other home computers, and then the remake moving to the arcade, with the game that we've been playing this week. A bit more looking, and I see that there was a Choplifter 2 that came out on the Game Boy, and then a Choplifter 3 that appeared on the Game Boy again, but also on the Game Gear, and then on the SNES. Finally, in 2012, the game was remade again as Choplifter HD for Xbox 360, PS3, Windows, but then also for Android. This game moved to polygonal graphics, but mostly retained the gameplay of the original. It was criticised for a high level of difficulty, but anyone who took part in the challenge this week I'm sure can relate to. Colin was the only person to choose this game, and he clearly has a soft spot for it. For me, I didn't really enjoy it that much, I just didn't gel with the game mechanic, and the difficulty makes it pretty frustrating. The aim of the game is to save the hostages. However, if too many on any given stage die, then you have to restart. The highlight of the week for me was seeing Weebob's YouTube video, where once he lost a few of the hostages accidentally, he went on a killing spree and polished the last of them off to force a restart and go again. Pretty silly, but it tickled me. With another week done, let's take a look at the scores. We only had 12 submissions this week, which is lower than we've been getting recently. I expected a combination of the game choice and the challenge in getting a working ROM. There seemed to be two main versions of the ROM, the original one and the unprotected one. I was only able to get the unprotected one to work. It seems like these two are pretty much the same, but have a significant difference in the bonus amount for a perfect level completion, where you save the hostages without any dying. The original gives 50,000 points, whereas the unprotected one gives 20. To account for this, I decided that we should add 30,000 for each perfect people achieve on the unprotected ROM. Regarding the scores, we've got a first point score for Moxie channel with a decent effort of 60,000, and you can see his run on YouTube. There's another point score for Milthy. Ian put a token effort in 8th. Paul, Big Juffer and myself were all fairly close on points in 7th to 5th. I was pretty pleased to end up on nearly 200,000, given I wasn't getting on with this game that well. A solid effort from Colin in 4th, with his best result of the season. He chose the game, so not a huge surprise. Andrew was struggling with the ROM this week, but did eventually get it working, and has ended up in 3rd, just a few points behind Weebob, who's taken his best result of the season too. But out in front by a significant margin, on another Sega action arcade game, is 10 Shearers. That's now 2 wins for him, matching Andrew's total, so very well done to him. Here is the distribution of the scores once again. We can see the token submissions on the left. Our group of Ian, Milthy and Moxie are next, all finishing close together. Then on the right, once again we have something that's not a million miles away from being normally distributed. Me and Big Juffer in the same bin, and then Andrew and Weebob together too. But out on his own is 10 Shearers. It seems every week so far we've had someone dominate and lead by a significant margin. I'm hoping for a nail-biting finish next week, as we had a couple of times last season. There's been a few changes in the overall table. The 12 points for Colin has seen him jump 4 places into 8th, dropping Mark, Panther and Robert down, with Milthy holding station in 12th. Paul and I were tied on points previously, but with me finishing ahead this week, I've taken the 5th spot. Up at the top, there's no change, but Weebob has pulled away from Big Juffer somewhat, and 10 Shearers has closed the gap to Andrew. There's only 3 points between them now, which is less than the gap in points for 1st and 2nd place each week, so it's all to play for. Let's see what we get this week, and who it's going to suit. So I've got all the games loaded in again, with 10 Shearers games boosted. So let's set the selector going. Okay, there it's going. And I'll hit it again. Let's see what we get. Okay, so 10 Shearers has been lucky this week, and we've got Dig Dug. Again, a game I've heard of and I've seen pictures of, but I don't really know much about the game mechanic. I'll go look it up, make a short video, and back shortly. This week, we have the classic Dig Dug, released by Namco in 1982. As I said, this is a game that I've seen, but never played until now. A quick blast, and it's great, as I'd expect from Namco, who have produced so many great games over a very long period. You play as Dig Dug, and the aim of the game is to clear the screen of the enemies by either dropping a rock on them, or hilariously, shooting them with the bike pump type weapon that you have, and inflating them until they explode. You gain points for digging, and for killing the enemies. Even on the first play I got to round 6, so it's pretty accessible. My worry is that it's going to be another game where a top score requires a very long session. This game was also chosen by Ian, so he should be pleased too. I've got a new vertical game set up, so I'm looking forward to spending some time with this one. Regarding ROMs, we'll be using the Rev 2 ROM. My first play was on easy with 3 lives. I suggest that we play on medium with 2 lives to reduce the game time, but I'll field opinions on the Discord and update the description accordingly. I reckon this will be a popular choice, so I hope you all enjoy playing this week, and as usual, I'll be back next week with the results. See you then.